Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to your weekly streaming quiz with Geeks Who Drink Pub Quiz. I am once again your quizmaster, Sarah. That's right, 2 weeks in a row. You didn't expect it. I didn't expect it, but it's what we're doing. I did very much enjoy watching everyone guess for the quiz before the quiz, knowing you would all be wrong. Twice as much smiles this week, y'all. We got to go over some instructions, some rules, and then we'll get over to your quiz as always. We will have 7 total rounds of questions for you all. Most of the rounds are worth 8 points. So give me one answer for 1 point for each question, but a couple, as always, are worth double. Those are the 16-point rounds. They are round 2, round 6, and round 7. I'm telling you that for 2 reasons. One, more instructions when we get to those rounds, so pay attention. But also here at Geeks Who Drink, we have something called the Joker that's going to double your score on 1 round and 1 round only. That's right. The first time you use it is the last time you use it, so use it wisely. I'm not keeping score for you. You will have to do that on your own. Keep your score. Use that handy dandy score sheet if you need it, however you want to keep score. But do make sure you're following the rules and using the Joker one time, and we recommend you use it on a 16-point round. Folks like to share their scores at the end of the quiz. Feel free to do that. Feel free to not do that. Totally up to you. We just have 2 rules here at Geeks Who Drink. One is no cheating. I realize you're all on the internet to play along with me this evening, but it doesn't mean a whole lot. Bragging rights is what you're going for here, and they don't mean anything if you used the Google to get there, or the Shazam, or the AI, or whatever. So don't do that. Rule number 2, very important, is no shouting out the answers, which here on the Twitch quiz means don't put your answers in the Twitch chat. You will be shamed. Shamed, shamed, shamed. Don't put them in the Twitch chat. All right. Now, hopefully you've saved all your jokers for this evening. All right, I think that's all of the important bits. We will take a couple of scheduled breaks throughout the quiz. I'll let you know when those are coming, but that's all the nitty-gritty out of the way. Feel free to let me know what you're drinking this evening besides Orange Whip, if it's something besides an Orange Whip. I've just got water for the moment, but maybe I'll have something more exciting later on. We're going to go ahead and move on to your first round of quiz. First round is worth 8 points, just 8 points for this first round. So as I tell my quizzers in person, for the love of God, don't joker this round. You're smarter than that. You're better than that. Don't do it. Here we go. Round number 1 is called a layered round 1. Apparently the month of July is Lasagna Awareness Month, because we needed a whole month for that. We didn't make this up. This is a real thing. This is a round on everyone's favorite brick-shaped calorie bomb, lasagna, in case you weren't paying attention. It's a round on lasagna. Hopefully you all had food, because otherwise you're going to be hungry at the end of this round. Here we go. Question number 1. For your round 1, here's your question number 1. One of the oldest pastas, lasagna, was first mentioned in a 1200s Bolognese poem from what guessable country? Again, this is your question number 1 for round 1. One of the oldest pastas, lasagna, was first mentioned in a 1200s Bolognese poem from what guessable country? All right, we're starting off with the strong EDM tonight in the playlist. Moving on to question number 2. Question 2. Leaving aside the whole fruit-vegetable debate, what nightshade surprisingly didn't appear in a lasagna recipe until the 1880s? I have questions. Again, this is question number 2. Leaving aside the whole fruit-vegetable debate, what nightshade surprisingly didn't appear in a lasagna recipe until the 1880s? All right, question number 3 coming at you. Here's your question 3. Made with sheets of unleavened flatbread instead of pasta, matzo lasagna was invented by Italian followers of what religion? Again, this is question 3. Made with sheets of unleavened flatbread instead of pasta, matzo lasagna was invented by Italian followers of what religion? All right, question number 4 is up next. Here's your question 4. With one episode clocking in at nearly 5 hours, the web series masterpiece Lasagna Cat is centered on live recreations of what still ongoing comic strip? Again, this is question number 4. With one episode clocking in at nearly 5 hours, the web series masterpiece Lasagna Cat is centered on live recreations of what still ongoing comic strip? All right, you're halfway through this round number 1, all about lasagna. Here comes question 5. Luann wanted to name her daughter Lasagna in a season 13 episode of what Texas cartoon that's about to come back for season 14? Again, this is question number 5. Luann wanted to name her daughter Lasagna in a season 13 episode of what Texas cartoon that's about to come back for season 14? Yes, I think we've had our first drink in our evening drinking game this evening. But anyway, moving on to question number 6. Question 6. The highest ever showing for his home country last year, Croatian musician Baby Lasagna took second in what music competition? Again, this is question number 6. The highest ever showing for his home country last year, Croatian musician Baby Lasagna took second in what music competition? I'm told the EDM party might be a little loud. I've turned it down a bit, but let me know if I need to turn it down even more as we move on to question number 7. Outraging Italians, what American French chef used cottage cheese in her 1970 episode Lasagna à la Française? I definitely said that wrong, so please feel free to drink. Once again, for question number 7, outraging Italians, what American French chef used cottage cheese in her 1970 episode Lasagna à la Française? All right, it's time for question number 8, your last question in this round before we get over to your bonus. Here's question number 8. YouTubers Epic Mealtime once made a fast food lasagna featuring an entire layer made from what extra porky Wendy's burger? Again, this is question number 8. YouTubers Epic Mealtime once featured a fast food lasagna featuring an entire layer made from what extra porky Wendy's burger? Feels like this question feels a little familiar from last week. All right, y'all, we've made it to our first bonus question of the evening. All right, here is your question for round number 1. A parody of La Bamba, Lasagna, was the second single from what accordion player's 1988 album, Even Worse? A parody of La Bamba, Lasagna was the second single from what accordion player's 1988 album, Even Worse? Your answers for round number 1, all about lasagna. Once again, question number 1. The first mention of lasagna was in the 1200s, and of course, Italy. That was Italy for question 1. Question number 2. I really need to go find out what lasagna was before the 1880s, which is the first time apparently it had tomatoes in it. I feel like that's the pasta and the tomato feel pretty necessary. Anyway, moving on to question number 3. Using matzo instead of, or sorry, unleavened flatbread instead of pasta, matzo lasagna is, of course, followers of Judaism. Judaism for question number 3. Question number 4, yes, recreations is probably the way I should have said that word. But anyway, Lasagna Cat is a web series masterpiece remake of Garfield. Garfield, who loves lasagna and hates Mondays, but his Mondays probably didn't end with Geeks Who Drink. So maybe he would have liked them better. Moving on to question number 5. Luann wanted to name her daughter Lasagna in that show. They're bringing back. That would be King of the Hill. It's coming back. King of the Hill for question 5. Question number 6. I wanted to know, Baby Lasagna was the representative from Croatia, and they got second place in the Eurovision competition, Eurovision last year. Feel like we're getting close to Eurovision again. I can never remember when it happens. Anyway, moving on to question number 7. Question 7. That American French chef who made a lasagna with cottage cheese, that was Julia Child. Julia Child. I don't know if my mom got it from Julia Child, but our home recipe definitely used cottage cheese. So, like, that's the version I'm used to. If you did not have cottage cheese, then did you really have enough cheese? Is the question. Anyway, moving on to your final question before your bonus. Question number 8. We definitely asked you about this Wendy's burger last week. That is the Baconator. Extra porky. So your stomach says that's all, folks. Stole that from the chat. Thank you for that, Baconator, for question number 8. All right, your answer, of course, lasagna was a parody of La Bamba. That was from the great Weird Al. Weird Al Yankovic. Round number 3 is another 8-point round. So if you did not joker your round number 2, just 8 points on your round number 3, which is tonight called Storms a Brewin'. Storms a Brewin'. This is going to be a multiple choice round on storms and craft beer. I feel like the second part especially should be perfect for all of y'all. So multiple choice round on storms and craft beer. Here we go. Question number 1 for round 3. Here's your question 1. Barred under prohibition, home brewing was finally re-legalized during the administration of what president? Was it George W. Bush or Jimmy Carter? Again, question number 1 for round 3. Barred under prohibition, home brewing was finally re-legalized during the administration of which president? Is it George W. Bush or Jimmy Carter? All right, I see a couple folks asking for round 2 answers in the chat because the video lag was so bad. I'll get to that in just a minute, but I'm going to keep asking your questions for your round number 3. Moving on to question number 2. Question 2. A 1991 nor'easter that sank a fishing ship called the Andrea Gale was the inspiration for what 2000 film? Was it The Perfect Storm or White Squall? Again, this is question number 2. A 1991 nor'easter that sank a fishing ship called the Andrea Gale was the inspiration for what 2000 film? Is it The Perfect Storm or White Squall? Moving on to question number 3. For your round 3, here's question 3. Ichabod, Night Owl, and Wick for Brains are popular craft beers made with what divisive seasonal ingredient? Is it cranberries or pumpkin? Again, this is question number 3. Ichabod, Night Owl, and Wick for Brains are popular craft beers made with what divisive seasonal ingredient? Is it cranberries or pumpkin? All right, question number 4 coming at you. Here's question 4. Causing roughly $12 billion in damage, the 2011 super outbreak was an especially nasty series of, is it hurricanes or tornadoes? Again, for question 4, causing roughly $12 billion in damage, the 2011 super outbreak was an especially nasty series of, was it hurricanes or tornadoes? All right, y'all, you're halfway through your round number 3. I promise I'm working on those round number 2 answers. I'll put them in the chat here in just a moment. But first comes your question number 5 for this multiple choice round on storms and craft beers. Question 5. In the 90s, Goose Island popularized the trendy process of aging beer in barrels used for, is it bourbon or wine? Again, this is question number 5. In the 90s, Goose Island popularized the trendy process of aging beer in barrels used for, is it bourbon or wine? All right, if any of you were waiting on the answers to round number 2, if you didn't get them through the video, I just put it into the chat. So you should see those answers for round number 2 in the chat. Thank you for those who were helping me out there. I was copying and pasting as quickly as possible. All right, moving on to question number 6. Question 6 for your round 3. A Minnesota blizzard helped Billy Bob Thornton's character stab a hitman in season 1 of what TV series? Is it Fargo or Landman? Again, this is question number 6. A Minnesota blizzard helped Billy Bob Thornton's character stab a hitman in season 1 of what TV series? Is it Fargo or Landman? All right, moving on to question number 7. Question 7. J.J. Watt and Naomi Osaka are notable investors in what all non-alcoholic beer maker? Is it Athletic or Gambrinus? Again, this is question number 7. J.J. Watt and Naomi Osaka are notable investors in what all non-alcoholic beer maker? Is it Athletic or Gambrinus? All right, and your last question of this round before the bonus question. Here's your question number 8. Question 8. About once every 3 years, a massive dust storm covers the entirety of what planet? Is it Mars or Venus? Once again, for question number 8, about once every 3 years, a massive dust storm covers the entirety of what planet? Is it Mars or Venus? Bonus question coming up next. Here is your bonus question for round number 3. You'll find Big Storm Brewing Company in what state that gets more hurricanes than any other? Again, this is your bonus question for round number 3. You'll find Big Storm Brewing Company in what state that gets more hurricanes than any other? See how you did on this multiple choice round? Yeah, it's basically a 50-50, but we changed it to multiple choice for reasons. Moving on to your answers for round number 3. First off, that question at number 1, Baird under prohibition, home brewing was finally re-legalized during the administration that was of Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter for question number 1. Moving on to question number 2. That 1991 nor'easter that sank the Andrea Gale was the inspiration for, of course, the perfect storm. The perfect storm. Question number 3. I am guilty as one of the people who enjoys these kinds of beers. Ichabod, Night Owl, and Wick for Brains are popular beers made with pumpkin. Although I did see someone mention that the pumpkin spice season has not started yet. And quite frankly, I don't know why anyone's thinking about that. It's July. It's too soon. Too soon. Moving on to question number 4. Question 4. That super outbreak of the 2011 year was a series of tornadoes. Tornadoes for question number 4. Moving on to question number 5. Question 5. Goose Island popularized the process of aging beer in bourbon barrels. Bourbon barrel stout, for example, is what you got from Goose Island originally. Question at number 6. It's got a Minnesota blizzard, so you know it can't be Landman. That one happens in Texas. It's got to be Fargo. That's the one that happens in Minnesota. And finally, moving on to question, not finally, second to finally, penultimately, question number 7. JJ Watt and Naomi Osaka are, of course, it makes sense. It's in the name. Investors in Athletic. Athletic is that non-alcoholic beer brand. It is delicious as well. Very good, very good. Moving on to final question of this round, question number 8. The massive dust storm that covers the entirety of the planet every 3 years. That would be, of course, Mars. It's a dusty planet, Mars. Dusty, dusty, dusty. All right, here is your answer. For your question, once again, Big Storm Brewing Company is in the state that gets more hurricanes than any other. That's, of course, the state of Florida. Florida is the one that gets more hurricanes than any other. All right, y'all, it's time to move on to your round number 4. Round number 4 is another 8-point round. Round number 4 tonight is called Remembrance of Things Past. Remembrance of Things Past. Just in time for that new Fantastic Four movie, here's a round on actors Michael Chiklis and Jamie Bell, because, you know, they played the Thing in the past. Get it? Remembrance of Things Past. Anyway, put these two actors who played the Thing in the past. This is a round all about them. Here we go. Question number 1 for your round number 4. Here's your question 1. Michael Chiklis recently promoted the Pink Pig, his daughter's añejo brand of what booze that goes into a margarita. Again, this is question number 1 for your round number 4. Michael Chiklis recently promoted the Pink Pig, his daughter's añejo brand of what booze that goes into a margarita. All right, moving on to question number 2. Here is your question 2. Jamie Bell tore up his attempts at songwriting when he prepped for his role as Bernie Taupin in what 2019 musical biopic? Again, this is question number 2. Jamie Bell tore up his attempts at songwriting when he prepped for his role as Bernie Taupin in what 2019 musical biopic? Moving on to question number 3. Here is your question 3. Starring Chiklis as corrupt cop Vic Mackey, The Shield avoided LAPD lawsuits by pinning what objects on the wrong side of uniforms? Again, this is question at number 3. Starring Chiklis as a corrupt cop, Vic Mackey, The Shield avoided LAPD lawsuits by pinning what objects on the wrong side of uniforms? All right, moving on to question number 4 for your round 4. Here's your question 4. A 2011 film starred Jamie as St. John Rivers, the clergyman who gets beat out by Mr. Rochester for the heart of what Charlotte Bronte heroine? Again, this is question number 4. A 2011 film starred Jamie as St. John Rivers, the clergyman who gets beat out by Mr. Rochester for the heart of what Charlotte Bronte heroine? All right, y'all, you're halfway through this round number 4, a round about Michael Chiklis and Jamie Bell. Here's question number 5. I have witches working now to jinx the thing, said Dan Aykroyd about Wired, a lackluster biopic starring Chiklis as what SNL samurai bluesman. Again, this is question number 5. I have witches working now to jinx the thing, said Dan Aykroyd about Wired, a lackluster biopic starring Chiklis as what SNL samurai bluesman. All right, question number 6 coming up next. Here's your question 6. Flags of Our Fathers featured Bell as one of the non-flag raising Marines who fought over what tiny Japanese island? Again, this is question number 6. Flags of Our Fathers featured Bell as one of the non-flag raising Marines who fought over what tiny Japanese island? Question number 7 up next. Here's question 7. In 2008, Chiklis almost made a drama series about what Ponzi schemer who bilked Kevin Bacon and Sandy Koufax, among others. Again, this is question number 7. In 2008, Chiklis almost made a drama series about what Ponzi schemer who bilked Kevin Bacon and Sandy Koufax, among others. All right, and your last question of the round before your bonus question. Here's question number 8. Bell followed up the adventures of Tintin by showing his O face on posters for what horny two-part Lars von Trier film? Again, this is question number 8. Jamie Bell followed up the adventures of Tintin by showing his O face on posters for what horny two-part Lars von Trier film? Bonus question for round number 4 coming up next. Here is your bonus question for round number 4. After holding out for a whole 12 issues in 1961, The Thing had his first punch up with what big green smashy guy? Again, this is your bonus question for round number 4. After holding out for a whole 12 issues in 1961, The Thing had his first punch up with what big green smashy guy? Let's see how y'all did on this 8-point round. First off, question number 1. Michael Chiklis recently promoted the Pink Pig, his daughter's brand of tequila. Tequila for question number 1. I do love an anejo, a reposado, as well as a blanco. Moving on to question number 2. Jamie Bell tore up his attempts at songwriting, which feel appropriate because he played Bernie in Rocket Man, the Elton John film Rocket Man, for question number 2. Question number 3. Chickless was on the Shield, which avoided LAPD lawsuits by pinning the badges on the wrong side of the uniform. Moving on to question number 4. That Charlotte Bronte heroine who gets beat, who goes with Mr. Rochester instead of St. John Rivers. Maybe it was a questionable choice. I don't know. I'm not going to judge her life. That is Jane Eyre for question number 4. Jane Eyre. Moving on to question number 5. That lackluster biopic Wired starred Chickless as John Belushi. John Belushi for question number 5. Moving on to question number 6. Flags of Our Fathers featured Jamie Bell as one of the non-flag raising Marines that was over the tiny island of Iwo Jima for question 6. Iwo Jima. Question number 7. That Ponzi schemer who bilked Kevin Bacon, Sandy Koufax, and others was, of course, Bernie Madoff. Bernie Madoff for question number 7. And finally, your last question of the round before your bonus. Jamie Bell followed up The Adventures of Tintin by that 2-part film that was Nymphomaniac. Nymphomaniac for question number 8. All right, your bonus answer. After holding out for a whole 12 issues, the Thing had his first punch up with the Hulk. The Hulk. All right, y'all, it's time for us to move on to your round number 5. As always, round 5 is going to be your multimedia round. My system is still giving me some grief about the video getting lagged, so hopefully I'm going to try not to touch anything while I play this video. Hopefully it plays smoothly for you all. But let me tell you your theme of your round number 5 before I get you over to it. This round number 5 is called Zillow No. Zillow No. These are going to be some movies with characters who should have had a proper real estate inspection done before moving in. So some scary houses is what you're going to see here in your round number 5. But again, as always, you'll see these movie clips through once, and then you will see them a second time, 1 point for each movie title, and we will take a break after we go through these questions. So good luck on your round number 5, y'all.
Of time to think about what our new house is going to look like. What?
We're supposed to live here?
I'm telling you, it smells like something died in here.
Did you die from moving?
Guys, you're overreacting. Nobody is dying.
A dead mouse!
Ah, great.
I'm gonna be
It's
sick.
the house of the dead. What are we gonna do? We're gonna get rabies. Get off!
This can't be it.
It's the address.
It's beautiful.
I know. Something must be wrong.
Shield wall protects the city from the weather and the worms. Harkonnen agent was cemented into that hole 6 weeks ago. Ran the hunter-seeker through a water pipe inside the walls. Sai, I failed you today. There's no excuse.
Huh?
Goodness, how many rooms are there?
I don't know.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to our newest occupants, the Cooper family.
first place.
We just got quiet. Gotta hide, gotta hide, gotta hide. Never seen him around before. What happened to the old lady? Uh-oh, luggage. I don't like it. Shh, stay undercover. Great, another stupid human being. Shut up, I'm just talking. Hey, can it, both of you.
Welcome home.
It's the movers. Yeah, we're here.
Plenty of time to think about what our new house is going to look like. What?
We're supposed to live here?
We have
I'm telling you, it smells like something.
No, something must be wrong.
The city from the weather and the worms. Harkonnen agent was cemented into that hole 6 weeks ago. Ran the hunter-seeker through a water pipe inside the walls.
rooms are there?
I don't know.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to our newest occupants, the Cooper family.
My first place.
We just got quiet. Gotta hide, gotta hide, gotta hide. Never seen him around before.
Yeah, we're here.
Let's get you to the answers. Here are the answers to your round number 5. Question number 1, that was, of course, Inside Out, the original Inside Out from 2015. Question number 2, this is the one you thought of. Yes, it was indeed The Money Pit with Tom Hanks. Money Pit for question number 2 and Susan Sarandon. I think that's who that is. Question number 3, that was Dune for question 3. Dune. I've only seen that movie once. I don't remember that scene. I need to watch it again. Question number 4, that was Coraline, also on my list. Coraline for question number 4. Question number 5, that was the horror film Crimson Peak. Crimson Peak for question 5. Question number 6, this was a deep cut. I enjoyed this one. A Disney Channel original movie, Smart House for question number 6. Smart House. Moving on to question number 7. That one was Joe's Apartment. Real deep cut. Don't think I've heard of that one. Joe's Apartment for question 7. And last but not least, your question number 8. It looked like the Haunted Mansion because it was. It was the Haunted Mansion for question number 8. So hopefully you all did well on that round number 5. That one was our last 8-point round because we're time now to move on to your round number 6, which is worth 16 points. That's right, 16 points on the line for round number 6, as well as round number 7. They are both worth 16. So if you have not used your Joker, it's up to you. You can use it on round number 6 or save it for your round number 7. Let me tell you about your round number 6 tonight. It's called Hit Me National Parks Edition. For this round, I'm going to give you 2 possible questions. You can either answer the first one for 1 point or the second one for 2 points, but only put one answer down. If you answer both, you will get 0. So once again, for each question, you're going to have a part A and a part B. Part A will be worth 1 point. Part B will be worth 2 points. You have to decide if you're answering part A or part B? It's up to you. And it is the National Parks Edition. Let's see how y'all do. Question number one. First up on this round, your 1 point option first. About a sixth of Denali National Park is covered by what slow moving ice shelves? Or your 2 point option, Denali's official Big Five mammals are moose, wolves, Dall sheep, caribou, and what predator? Again, this is question number one. Your 1 point option first. About a sixth of Denali National Park is covered by what slow moving ice shelves? Or your 2 point option, Denali's official Big Five mammals are moose, wolves, Dall sheep, caribou, and what predator? Don't answer both questions. Pick which one you're going to answer and write down that answer for question one. All right, moving on to question number two. Question number two, your 1 point option first. Jellystone Park is the fictional home of what stealer of picnic baskets? Or your 2 point option, the first TV spinoff of Yellowstone is named for what 19th century year? Again, this is question number two. Your 1 point option, Jellystone Park is the fictional home of what stealer of picnic baskets? Or your 2 point option, the first TV spinoff of Yellowstone is named for what 19th century year? All right, question number three is up next. Here's question three. Your 1 point option. At over 3,000, Tanzania's Serengeti National Park has the world's largest population of what big cats? Or for 2 points, more than 9,000 giant tortoises have been rewilded from captivity into what Ecuadorian national park? Again, this is question number three. Your 1 point option first. At over 3,000, Tanzania's Serengeti National Park has the world's largest population of what big cats? Or for 2 points, more than 9,000 giant tortoises have been rewilded from captivity into what Ecuadorian national park? All right, question number four coming up next. Here's your question four. Your 1 point option first. An $80 annual national park pass is named after what Sea to Shining Sea song? Or for 2 points, a 2015 Obama initiative gave free national park passes to students in what number grade? Again, this is question number four. Your 1 point option. An $80 annual national park pass is named after what Sea to Shining Sea song? Or for 2 points, a 2015 Obama initiative gave free national park passes to students in what number grade? Y'all are halfway through this Hit Me Round, the National Parks Edition. Remember, you have to choose if you're going to answer the 1 point option or the 2 point option. Here comes your question number five. 1 point option first. 1998's Rushmore was the sophomore effort from what quirky director? Or for 2 points, Cary Grant climbs down Mount Rushmore in what 1959 Hitchcock film? Again, question number 5, 1 point option first. 1998's Rushmore was the sophomore effort from what quirky director? Or for 2 points, Cary Grant climbs down Mount Rushmore in what 1959 Hitchcock film? Moving on to question number 6. Question 6, your 1 point option first. America's newest national park is New River Gorge in what coal mining state? Or your 2 point option, Canada's oldest national park is Banff, located in what western province? Again, this is question number 6. Your 1 point option, America's newest national park is New River Gorge in what coal mining state? Or for 2 points, Canada's oldest national park is Banff, located in what western province? Question number 7. Here's your question 7. 1 point option. YouTuber Bear Vasquez is most famous for spotting a double what in the sky over Yosemite National Park? Or for 2 points, what 2018 film about climbing Yosemite's El Capitan won the Best Documentary Oscar? Again, this is question number 7. Your 1 point option first. YouTuber Bear Vasquez is most famous for spotting a double what in the sky over Yosemite National Park? Or for 2 points, what 2018 film about climbing Yosemite's El Capitan won the Best Documentary Oscar? All right, question number 8. Here's your question 8. 1 point option. A Battlefield Park Square replaces Community Chest in one version of what board game? Or for 2 points, a Battlefield Park commemorates the October 1777 British surrender at what New York racing town? Again, this is question number 8. Your 1 point option, a Battlefield Parks Square replaces Community Chest in one version of what board game? Or for 2 points, a Battlefield Park commemorates the October 1777 British surrender at what New York racing town? Bonus question for round number 6 coming up next. All right, y'all, it's time for your bonus question for round number 6. Here comes your bonus. The only place in the world where alligators and crocodiles coexist in the wild is what Florida National Park? Again, this is your bonus question for round number 6. The only place in the world where alligators and crocodiles coexist in the wild is what Florida National Park? All right, y'all, feel free to keep those bonus answers coming on into the chat as we move on to your answers for your round number 6. Hopefully, if you were feeling confident and you hadn't used your joker, you decided to joker this round. We'll see if it was worth it. We'll see if it was worth it for round number 6. First off, your 1-point question for question number 1. About a sixth of Denali National Park is covered by glaciers. Glaciers for your 1-point option. And for your 2-point option, Denali's official Big 5 mammals include the grizzly bear as the predator in the top 5, grizzly bear. Moving on to question number 2, your 1-point option. Jellystone is, of course, the fictional home of the picnic basket stealer Yogi Bear. And the first TV spinoff of Yellowstone is named for 1883. They film like all of those down here in Fort Worth. I hear about the filming of them all the time. Never seen it, but you know, it happens down here in Fort Worth. Moving on to question number 3, Tanzania's Serengeti National Park has 3,000 lions in it. And your 2-point option, those giant tortoises have all been rewilded in the Galapagos. The Galapagos, of course, for question 3, your 2-point answer. Moving on to question number 4, your 1-point answer first. The Sea to Shining Sea song is America the Beautiful. And your 2-point option, that Obama initiative in 2015 gave free national park passes to students in 4th grade. I did see at least one of you say you were going to go for the Geeks Who Drink answer on this, and it helped you out. Question number 4, your 2-point answer was 4th grade. Good job, y'all. Good job. Moving on to question number 5, your 1-point option. Rushmore was the sophomore effort from Wes Anderson. Funny story, Rushmore was actually the first Wes Anderson movie that I ever saw, and I did enjoy it. I did enjoy it. Moving on to your 2-point option, Cary Grant climbs down Mount Rushmore, and of course, North by Northwest. If you were to ask me to name a movie that includes Mount Rushmore or a type of Mount Rushmore, I always think of Richie Rich. I don't remember what it was called. It wasn't Mount Rushmore, but it was the family, the Richmore, something like that. Anyway, moving on to question number 6. Question 6, New River Gorge, the newest national park in the U.S., is in West Virginia. Your 2-point option for question 6, Banff is located in Alberta, Canada, Alberta. Moving on to question number 7, your 1-point option. Bear Vasquez is most famous for seeing a double rainbow over Yosemite. And for 2 points, the climbing of El Capitan in Yosemite won the Best Documentary Oscar in 2018. That was called Free Solo. Free Solo for question 7. Finally, your question at number 8. Community chess is, of course, from Monopoly. That's your 1-point answer for question 8. Or for 2 points, the British surrender in 1777 was at Saratoga. Saratoga for your 2-point option. All right, your question once again, the only place in the world where alligators and crocodiles coexist in the wild is, of course, the Everglades in Florida. All right, y'all, we have reached it. That's right, we have reached the end. You all know what that means. It's time for our final round of quiz. Here we go, final round.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
That's right. We've reached the random knowledge final round of the quiz. You all know how this works. It's just 8 questions worth 16 points. Some of the questions are, of course, going to have multiple parts and or be worth multiple points. That's how we get to 16. Just remember that usually the order matters on those multiple part questions. I'm not keeping score. You can write them in whatever order you can keep track of. Just know that the order usually matters on those multiple part questions. And if you have not used your joker, this is the last opportunity to use it. So if you're using the score sheet, I'm told it doesn't do it automatically. Our score sheets do that. If yours doesn't, just remember to give yourself the joker here on this final round if you haven't used it already. Here we go. Question number 1 for round number 7. Worth 1 point, 1 answer for your question number 1. Celebrated after the emperor's birthday, but before Respect for the Aged Day, Mountain Day is the newest of what country's 16 national holidays? Again, for question number 1, celebrated after the emperor's birthday, but before Respect for the Aged Day, Mountain Day is the newest of what country's 16 national holidays? All right, moving on to question number 2. Question number 2 is worth 2 points, 2 answers for question number 2. Both HBO Max and Netflix have new documentaries examining the 2023 implosion of What Submersible. That's part 1. Part 2, in 2024, Netflix launched a series based on what card game about diffusing unstable felines? Again, this is question number 2 for 2 points. The order does matter. First, both HBO Max and Netflix have new documentaries examining the 2023 implosion of What Submersible. And part 2, in 2024, Netflix launched a series based on what card game about diffusing unstable felines? All right, question number 3 is 1 point, 1 answer for question number 3. It's your image question. Familiar to anyone who listened to Serial, this is the logo for what marketing company? Again, this is question number 3. Familiar to anyone who listened to Serial, this is the logo for what marketing company? All right, question number 4 up next. Question number 4 is worth 3 points, 3 answers for your question number 4. 3 of the 5 most visited museums in the U.S. are in Washington, D.C., and all 3 start with the word national. Name those 3 museums. Order does not matter here. You can write them down in any order you want. Well, really, you can do that on every question, but you know what I mean. Question number 4, once again, 3 of the 5 most visited museums in the U.S. are in Washington, D.C., and all 3 of them start with the word national. Name those 3 museums whose names start with national you can find in Washington, D.C. Question number 5 coming up next. Question number 5 is worth 1 point, 1 answer for question number 5. A town in Ohio, not a country in Scandinavia, gave us the name of what virus that was first described in 1968 as the winter vomiting disease? Delightful. Again, this is question number 5. A town in Ohio, not a country in Scandinavia, gave us the name of what virus that was first described in 1968 as the winter vomiting disease? Moving on to question number 6. Question number 6 is worth 3 points. 3 answers for question number 6. These are yes or no. Were they ever alive at the same time? Obviously, the order matters here. Just yes or no. Were they ever alive at the same time? First is Louis Armstrong and Louis Braille. Second is Harrison Ford and Henry Ford. And third is Harry Styles and Harry S. Truman. So once again, for question number 6, just yes or no, were these two individuals ever alive at the same time? First is Louis Armstrong and Louis Braille. Second is Harrison Ford and Henry Ford. And third is Harry Styles and Harry S. Truman. Question number 7 is 1 point, just one answer for your question number 7. Carnival Cruise Line's clubs have recently banned the clacking hand fans mentioned in the chorus to what viral hit from 803 Fresh? Again, this is question number 7. Carnival Cruise Line's clubs have recently banned the clacking hand fans mentioned in the chorus to what viral hit from 803 Fresh? All right, y'all, we've made it to the last and final question of the quiz, other than that final bonus question. Question number 8 is worth 4 points, 4 answers for your question number 8. Before Freakier Friday, Disney put out 4 theatrically released films starring Lindsay Lohan. Name all 4 of those films. Once again, for question number 8, the order does not matter. Before Freakier Friday, Disney put out 4 theatrically released films starring Lindsay Lohan. Name those 4 films. All right, y'all, we've made it to our last and final bonus question of the evening. Here is your bonus question, including Vladimir Guerrero and Ronald Acuna. This year, a record 5 MLB All-Stars will have what suffix at the end of their names? Including Vladimir Guerrero and Ronald Acuna, this year, a record 5 MLB All-Stars will have what suffix at the end of their name? Your answers for your final round. I hope those of you who saved your jokers to this final round, I hope it pays off. I hope it pays off. All right, here are your answers. Question number 1, that country that has the Emperor's birthday, respect for the aged day, and Mountain Day, that would be Japan. Japan with 16 national holidays. Moving on to your question number 2. Question number 2. Both HBO Max and Netflix have new documentaries about the Ocean Gate Titan submersible. And your part 2, in 2024, Netflix launched a series based on exploding kittens. Exploding kittens. If y'all are not reading the comics by the Oatmeal, you're missing out. You're missing out. You should read them. Question number 3. Serial was probably 10 years ago, but if you listen to it, or if you listen to many other podcasts, you're probably familiar with the logo from MailChimp. MailChimp for question number 3. Moving on to question number 4, I was looking for the 3 of the top 5 most visited museums. They're all in DC, and all of their names start with national. First is the National Air and Space Museum. Second is the National Gallery of Art. And third is the Natural History Museum. The National Museum of Natural History. It's probably the name. So Air and Space, Gallery of Art, and Natural History for question number 4. Moving on to question number 5. That winter vomiting disease is neurovirus or Norwalk virus. Those are your possible answers for question number 5. Moving on to question number 6. This is the one to see if they were ever alive at the same time. Louis Armstrong and Louis Braille, that was no. Harrison Ford and Henry Ford, I can't answer whether or not they shot at the same time, but they were indeed alive at the same time. That's a yes. And finally, Harry Styles and Harry S. Truman, that was also a no. So no, yes, no for question number 6. Moving on to your question number 7. Question 7. Carnival Cruise Lines clubs have recently banned that clacking hand mentioned in the chorus to boots on the ground. Boots on the ground is what I was looking for question number 7. And finally, your question number 8. I wanted the 4 Disney Lindsay Lohan films prior to Freakier Friday. There was the one that started it all, The Parent Trap. Then Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen, Herbie Loaded, and hopefully you all got Freaky Friday, the original to the sequel, Freakier Friday. All right, it's time to move on to your bonus question for round number 7, including Vladimir Guerrero and Ronald Acuna. This year, a record 5 MLB All-Stars have a certain suffix at the end of their name. That is, of course, the suffix junior. Have a great rest of your week, y'all, and we'll see you next time.